Things have taken a terrifying turn for the Toronto Blue Jays, and not necessarily regarding just their team, but there's one player in particular that not only has fans fired up, but you look beyond just the eye test, look beyond the initial stats. This changes everything for the Jays, and things have taken a turn now that is very, very scary. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss how this impacts the team going forward, as well as a few other updates ahead of tonight's big game against Dylan Cease and the San Diego Padres. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. Thank you guys for it. We're on the road now, of course, to 17,000 subscribers. So you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, things have taken a scary turn. Now, obviously, we're talking about Anthony Santander, and bringing him in the offseason, there was a lot of high hopes looking at his, power numbers, all these different things. We knew he was never going to be the guy who puts up a 300 average. But what we've been seeing from him is not only, bad and way below expectations. It is at the point now where it is straight up extremely concerning. And this dropped an hour ago by StatMuse Baseball. And let's just dive into it a little bit. Qualified batters below the Mendoza line. And you can look at some of them here. Michael Massey, Taylor Ward, who I had a video on the other day, so he's also not doing very good. Andres Jimenez, Christian Yelich, Dylan Cruz, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Anthony Santander is the fourth worst baseball player qualified, in regards to average and below the Mendoza line. You'll also see Andres Jimenez there. And I'm not going to dive into Jimenez today. Jimenez wasn't brought in to be a hitter, right? He was brought in to be a fielder, and you can be okay from the plate. You'll be fine. Anthony Santander and he is notoriously known for slow starts in the month of April. We're now in May. He's dealing with an injury. We have some comments from him later in the video as well. Things have just gotten to the point now where this team is not only going to struggle to win baseball games if Santander can't produce, but he's like borderline unplayable. And people are making jokes about, him being like Kendrys Morales, JD Bunker, shout out to him. Fans have completely turned on Anthony Santander. And am I ready to completely turn on him? No, I think he has enough power and enough ability to turn it around. He's clearly dealing with some sort of injury. He's clearly dealing with it mentally, with the struggles and everybody talking about it. But man, oh man, it's gotten to a point now where you step up to the plate, Anthony Santander that is, and us as fans watching, I have no faith that he's going to even put contact on the ball. He's been striking out a ton, and it's very concerning. And I've been a big advocate of Anthony Santander. He's put up a minus 0.6 WAR in how many games? 41 games for Anthony Santander. And of course, he's missed some games with injuries. He has 5 home runs, and obviously the power is there when he is available to play, but the average is at an all-time low, 182. The on-base percentage, 264. You look back to last year, 2.9 WAR, 3 WAR, 2.1 WAR, for the past 3 years. He's not necessarily a WAR guy, but you look at the average, look at the OPS. The average is never going to be there, but he made that up in power. And of course, the Jays signed him at his peak value coming off of an 814 OPS season, and he's came to Toronto and just been absolutely, horrible. And I want to bring up this tweet here. And it's from, a guy who's on Twitter a lot. He makes a lot of, analysis about these guys. I'm very curious. I want to bring this up as a talking point for you guys as well. I said I'm going to chill in the negativity, so I'm just going to say this one last time about Santander and leave it at that. It's no secret I didn't want him all winter. The biggest red flag to me is that in a year he posted 44 home runs, his OPS barely scraped 800, and he hasn't hit that mark at any point in a non-COVID season. A one-tool guy, a net negative player on the roster. And the bigger, issue here is that the bat speed has regressed. And we'll have another video on that as well. But that's another terrifying thing about this, right? You look at his savant, look at all these things. His bat speed has gone down, which means it's not necessarily just the fact that he's not hitting the ball. His bat speed has went down. His ability to, we think about George Springer when, George Springer probably comes to mind when you say bat speed, right? When you initially think about that, because we've been talking about it on the channel a lot about how George Springer's bat speed initially went down. He's gotten it back. If Santander continues this, it's going to be very difficult to not justify keeping him on the team. He's under contract for 4 more years, but he has a minus 0.7 F-WAR, Fangraphs. Of course, Baseball Reference has him at a 0.6. And people of other teams now, you can see here, looking at the Blue Jays roster, he's not even a Jays fan, and Santander is at a minus 0.7 F-WAR. It is a very scary situation to be in. And not scary in the sense of, do I think he's going to turn it around? Absolutely, eventually. But this team needs to win this year. They need to make steps at least this year. And they're not making any steps right now regarding, even necessarily getting to 500. We're talking about how 500 is the hardest thing in the world. We're 2 years removed in 2023 complaining about 85-plus win teams, playoff teams. And now to see where we've gone in 2 years, yes, there's still a chance to make the playoffs. It's still very high on this team this year. I think they're going to be fine. But you need, in order to be fine, you need Santander to be very, very good. And it just hasn't been happening. And he spoke out a little bit about that. And he said, you can see here, it was the second time in a span of weeks that Santander had to sit out multiple games with an ailment. First, it was the left shoulder, the product of a dive into the stadium in Anaheim. Then it was the hip. And he said, I'm battling. Really, I am, but I'm staying positive. Sunday marked a much needed beginning. This, of course, a few days ago. It's interesting. And is it the injury's fault? Is it the bat speed? Like, there's a lot of underlying metrics to say that it's not just the injury, but he said the shoulder issue kept Santander out 3 games. He's going to turn it around, said John Schneider. Tony is an open book, and he has been since day one. So we're just kind of touching base with him and making sure he's good. He's working through some things mechanically, and he's a big-time feel hitter too. So just trying to get that feel right, but just really letting them know, and we've got confidence in him. Sorry. He's going to be a big part of what we're doing this year and going forward. So, I mean, that is the approach you have to take. He is a big field hitter, according to, guys around him, meaning if he has one good stretch of play, a week or 2 weeks, he'll be back and everything will be good. If he hits 3 home runs in the next 5 or 6 games, something crazy like that, everything's fine. This narrative will probably be turned on its head really quick. But for now, the unfortunate reality is the narrative can't be turned on its head. It has to remain what it is, because it's not just a narrative. It is how he's been playing. He hasn't been good. He's been borderline, really, really bad. And it's very, very, unfortunate. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Are you scared, in the sense of, obviously not like, terrified, but scared in the sense of the Blue Jays contract? How do you think the team performs? They need him to hit well, and hopefully he can do that. But speaking about hitting well, I want to touch on Ernie Clement, who's been an absolute, he's been insane this year. And he spoke out recently about what has been kind of the key to his improvement here. And he said, I'm getting back to being aggressive and being myself. Also, failure is just part of our game. So those ups and downs happen, and I've been riding the wave, trying to stay more aggressive. We'll be in a really good spot. And it's very similar to a message that Dave Popkins, that we covered here on the channel, said prior to the season starting. But at the end of the day, Ernie Clement's back, and the only reason the Jays are even competitive in a lot of these games is because the bottom part of the lineup is starting to hit now. And if they can start to really get going, Bichette's gotten going, you get Vladdy, and of course the biggest one being Anthony Santander, the team itself is going to be in a very, very good spot. But you need those things to happen, and it all starts with Anthony Santander. And at the end of the day, I think he's going to be fine. I'm not too worried about him. He's obviously battling. He knows as much as anybody that the pressure is on for him. And to see him struggling like this is disappointing, but I think he's going to be good. One other note, Bichette absolutely crushing it. Some of the best, advanced analytics lately, in a while. But at the end of the day, if Bichette can continue hitting well, you have Ernie Clement hitting well, you have Santander, hopefully going to be able to take that step now. And step meaning, get back to league average. Get your OPS from 64 to 100. Easier said than done, of course. But if that can happen, that can be a stepping stone. Get some power in there, and the Jays will be very, very good. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Leafs play tonight, or the Jays, play tonight. The Leafs got eliminated, unfortunately, but the Jays play tonight. And hopefully the Jays can get going tonight against the Padres.